Okay, so for this lesson, what you're going to do is you're going to create a vocabulary of line, and then you're going to do a drawing of an object, and you're going to take those lines and you're going to fill them in your drawing of your object to create something interesting. So I created this worksheet for you. You're going to be able to find it in the Google Classroom, and you could either print it out or you could do it digitally in the Google Draw. You could also just do it as drawings on the side of your page. So pretty much what you're going to be doing is thinking about lines and drawing lines that reflect the prompt in the top. So if I were to do ocean lines, I might do lines like this. I could do ones to show the water down below. Lines like rain, I could make them sort of raining down. Lines like clouds, think about what a cloud looks like, and they're sort of light and fluffy. So you could like do lines like that. And it's not necessarily about creating a picture, it's about getting different types of line. When I'm doing the line of thread, I'm going to use very light pressure on my pencil because a thin line is what you want to accomplish, and you can get that better with less pressure. However, if you were doing it like a storm and you wanted to show a tornado, you're going to use a lot more pressure to do that. This one is like jagged rocks, so you could think about rocks near the edge of a beach, and they're nice sharp peaks. And then this one are lines that are angry, so they'd be a lot more like energetic and dark. Lines that are confused, you could do it with arrows to show that the lines don't know where to go, and there is no order to things. You don't necessarily have to do any of these this way. I'm just trying to give you some examples so you can see. So rings like a puddle, you know, like the puddle, it has the little ripples that come out there. You know, you could even have some little raindrops coming down there. And then lines like stars shining at night. So I'm going to make my stars just these bright white spots. And then these are the marks shining out from them. But again, you can do any way that you want to accomplish these. You can go ahead and do it. So grass, I could do grass like this, where it's different blades of grass, or you could just do grass that's just these lines that are next to each other. Broken lines, or it could be like one that looks like it fell over. You can decide how you want to make the broken lines. Wood grain, usually it has a knot in there, and then they come down here. You could go look at a wall in your house or a floor and see what it looks like. And lines like fur, there's all kinds of fur, so you could come in there and make different things that look like fur. And I can make this into a little animal. Let me make a little hedgehog here. You don't need to make an animal, but they're sometimes cute. And then spiraling and swirling, right? So you can do swirling and spiraling. So basically, just like English or any other language you're learning, you have vocabulary. In this case, our vocabulary is a variety of different types of lines. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you are going to select an object and find an object with an interesting outside shape. In this case, I have this dog. And then you want to just start thinking about, when you're doing a drawing, breaking it down into different shapes. So I can take a square and do that part of his head. And then here is kind of like a rectangle. So I'm going to come in here with a rectangle. The ear is sort of like a square. Then I have like another rectangle coming around here. And then when I'm looking at his body, it sort of comes back into kind of an oval, right? And then the leg is sort of like a circle, and then we have this part here showing the shoulder, and then we can come in, and then once the main shapes are there, you can start defining what your drawing's going to look like. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start thinking about the outside shape, and then I'm going to come down and get the little foot here. And then his tail is sort of coming in here, so I'm going to put the tail in there. I have the chest of the dog coming up here. And then the shoulder of the dog here. I gave it bigger feet, but I'll shrink that down a little bit. The other foot's behind. And then I have His nose comes up here. So once you get the main shapes, then you can refine them as you go to define your drawing. Okay, and then I have the eye. Okay, so once you have the main shapes, then you can go ahead and erase your guidelines. And now you are ready to start plugging in your lines. So I just want to like take away those unnecessary lines so I have more of a place to put my line vocabulary. All right, so there we go. Okay, and again, when you're drawing, it's not necessarily about perfection. If we wanted perfection, we'd get a camera, right? It's more about just trying to record a likeness of what you see. So you could tell like that, you know, it's not exactly the perfect proportions, but it is the dog. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take my vocabulary and I'm going to figure out where am I going to put these different types of lines. So maybe I'm going to do some of the rating lines down here around his eyes. And then I can do some of the jagged lines here around there. I could do some wood lines here. And what I want you to do is in your drawing, try and find a way to incorporate at least 6 of your lines. So now these are my little puddle lines. Maybe here I want to use like a spiraling line. I could use the grass lines here. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to add some visual interest to your drawing, but it's also, and I'll do the fur lines here, it's also going to add value to your drawing. So where lines are closer together, so if I wanted this to be darker, I could do those little scribble lines. It's going to read as a darker value. And maybe up here, I'm going to do my cloud lines, right? So they're just different types of lines, and there's no wrong answer here. You're just like plugging them in, and maybe I'll do some direction lines here. And what it's doing is it's just giving your drawing a little bit more character. So I'm going to do my star lines here. So I'm going to put in some circles here, and then I'm going to start making those move out from the center. So they'll radiate outward from that center. And then maybe I want to come in here and do some of my broken lines to fill in this. But what you want to do is fill in your entire drawing with different types of lines. Now once you have all your lines there, you could go in and you could add a little bit of value to give it more definition. You could decide that maybe you want to use colored pencils or some other material to add color to it. That's not necessary, but it is an option. If you have those materials and you want to do that, you are welcome to do that. But the requirement is that you use 6 of your 15 lines. So just do that and then you'll be good. And then what you're going to do is take a photograph of it and send it to me through the Google Classroom. If you want to include a picture of your object so I can see what you're drawing, you can get a bonus 1 point for doing that. So you might need to send me 2 images. One would be the drawing and the other one would be your lines. And maybe this is going to be digital and this one's going to be a photograph. So the requirement is to have your lines and then have your drawing with 6 of your lines included in it. Okay, that's it.